At 2:34 a.m. this morning, seismographs worldwide registered something that should be impossible. Vibrations originating from empty space itself, resonating through Earth's crust with frequencies that match no known geological or astronomical phenomenon. But here's what makes this truly terrifying. The vibrations aren't coming from 3i Atlas. They're responses to 3i Atlas, answers from something that's been waiting in the darkness between stars for longer than human civilization has existed. What I'm about to reveal represents the most catastrophic discovery in human history, because 3i Atlas wasn't exploring our solar system. It was calling something home, and that something is waking up. My name is Michoku, and in 40 years of studying cosmic phenomena, I never imagined I would document the moment when humanity discovers we're not alone with 3i Atlas. There are older things in the void, ancient intelligences that predate everything we know about the universe, and 3i Atlas just rang the dinner bell, the impossible signals. The detection began at the Arecibo Observatory Replacement Facility in Puerto Rico. Dr. Marcus Webb, a radio astronomer with 25 years of experience, was monitoring routine background radiation when his instruments picked up something that made him question his sanity. A signal pattern that seemed to be emanating from areas of space that contained absolutely nothing. No stars, no planets, no detectable matter of any kind, just void. But the void was singing back to 3i Atlas in harmonics that predate the formation of our galaxy. Have you ever wondered what might be hiding in the empty spaces between stars? Because those empty spaces aren't empty anymore. They're full of voices we never knew how to hear until 3i Atlas taught them how to reach us. The signals operate on frequencies that shouldn't propagate through space. They ignore the inverse square law that governs all electromagnetic radiation. They arrive at Earth's detectors with the same intensity regardless of distance, as if proximity has no meaning to whatever is transmitting them. But here's what terrifies scientists most. When they analyzed the mathematical structure of these signals, they found patterns that match ancient human symbols from civilizations separated by oceans and millennia. Spirals, geometric forms, and numerical sequences that appear in Sumerian tablets, Egyptian hieroglyphs, Mayan codices, and Aboriginal rock paintings. 3 categories of impossible transmissions are being documented. First, signals that originate from coordinates in space containing no visible matter. Second, mathematical patterns that match human archaeological records from before recorded history. Third, energy signatures that suggest the transmitters exist in dimensional frameworks our physics cannot describe. We're not just detecting alien communication. We're discovering that ancient human cultures were receiving messages from entities we're only now becoming aware of. The awakening process. Within 48 hours of 3i Atlas's arrival in our solar system, deep space monitoring stations detected the first responses from the void, not gradual increases in activity, but instant activation of sources that had been dormant for what astronomers estimate to be billions of years. Dr. Sarah Chen at Harvard Center for Astrophysics described her team's discovery with barely controlled fear in her voice. We're watching objects light up across the galaxy in perfect synchronization with 3i Atlas's movements. It's like someone turned on lights in a house we didn't know existed, revealing that we've been living in a neighborhood the entire time. The awakening follows a pattern that suggests coordination across galactic distances. When 3i Atlas entered our solar system, 17 distinct sources in deep space began transmitting. When 3i Atlas deployed its companion objects, 34 additional sources activated. When 3i Atlas positioned itself in stable orbit, sources throughout the local galactic cluster began responding with energy outputs that dwarf anything in our observable universe. But the most disturbing aspect of the awakening is the direction of the responses. Every activated source is oriented toward Earth, not toward 3i Atlas, toward our planet specifically. as if whatever is waking up has been waiting specifically for something to happen here, in our solar system, on our world. The ancient intelligences aren't responding to 3i Atlas. They're responding to us, and 3i Atlas is just the messenger that told them we're finally ready. I need to share what it's like to realize that humanity might have been under observation by entities so ancient that they watched our sun form from cosmic dust. My granddaughter asked me why all the scientists on television look scared lately. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that we just discovered the universe has been watching us for reasons we don't understand? That ancient minds capable of spanning galactic distances have decided now is the time to make their presence known, the terror in the data. Research teams studying the void signals have begun experiencing psychological breakdowns at rates that require psychiatric intervention. Dr. Michael Torres, a data analyst at NASA's Deep Space Network, described his experience processing the transmissions. Looking at the signal patterns felt like staring at something that was staring back. The mathematical structures weren't just information, they were intelligent. They were aware I was observing them, and they adjusted their patterns to communicate directly with my consciousness. I had to stop working because the signals were teaching me concepts my brain wasn't designed to process. The psychological impact isn't limited to individual researchers. Entire teams are reporting shared experiences that violate everything we understand about isolated consciousness. Scientists working in different facilities, sometimes on different continents, describe identical dreams involving vast geometric structures floating in absolute darkness. In these dreams, they encounter entities that exist as pure consciousness without physical form, minds so vast that human awareness is like a grain of sand trying to comprehend an ocean. But the terror escalated when researchers discovered that the void signals contain embedded instructions, not for technology or mathematics, but for human consciousness itself. The transmissions include what can only be described as consciousness activation protocols, sequences of information that trigger dormant areas of human neural architecture. People exposed to these protocols report sudden understanding of concepts they've never studied, awareness of spatial dimensions they cannot perceive, and most disturbing, communication with intelligences that exist outside normal space and time. Dr. Rebecca Martinez at the Center for Consciousness Studies documented what happened when she decoded a particular sequence from the void signals. The moment I processed the final equation, I experienced what I can only describe as forced enlightenment. My consciousness expanded to encompass perspectives I didn't know were possible. I could perceive the universe as a mathematical structure, reality as information patterns, and human awareness as temporary focusing of something vastly larger. The experience lasted 3 minutes. It took me 6 weeks to function normally again because I couldn't unsee what the signals had shown me. Universities have established psychological support programs for researchers affected by void signal exposure. The primary therapeutic challenge involves helping scientists cope with knowledge that fundamentally contradicts everything human consciousness assumes about reality. Support groups are forming where affected researchers share experiences of encountering intelligence so different from human thought that it challenges the definition of consciousness itself. The ancient architecture, deep space telescopes operating in wavelengths invisible to human eyes, have detected something that changes everything we thought we knew about the structure of space itself. The void isn't empty. It's filled with geometric structures so vast they span multiple galaxies, invisible to normal observation because they exist in dimensional configurations our instruments weren't designed to detect. But 3i Atlas's arrival has made them visible, or perhaps it's more accurate to say, 3i Atlas is teaching us how to see what's been there all along. Dr. James Patterson, an astrophysicist specializing in large-scale cosmic structures, described what his team discovered. We found a network of geometric forms that appeared to be artificial constructs spanning billions of light years. These aren't natural formations. They're engineered structures that use entire galaxies as components. The architecture suggests intelligence operating on scales we literally cannot comprehend. Our entire observable universe might be just one room in a structure we're only beginning to perceive. The ancient architecture operates according to principles that violate known physics. Structures maintain geometric precision across galactic distances without any visible support mechanisms. Forms remain stable despite the expansion of the universe that should tear them apart. Most impossibly, the structures appear to channel energy and information instantaneously across distances that light would take billions of years to traverse. But the most terrifying discovery is that Earth sits at a geometric focal point within this ancient architecture. Our solar system occupies a location that's mathematically significant within the larger structure, as if our planet was always meant to be observed from multiple points within the cosmic framework. We're not randomly located in an indifferent universe. We're positioned at a coordinate that matters to intelligences that built structures spanning galaxies. My wife, a mathematician who has spent decades studying abstract geometry, looked at the structural analysis data and started crying. When I asked what was wrong, she said the geometric principles governing the ancient architecture match mathematical theorems that human mathematicians have been developing for centuries. As if our mathematical intuition was unconsciously recognizing patterns embedded in the structure of reality itself. We've been learning the language of the ancient architects without realizing we were students. The companion objects reveal their purpose. For months, we thought 3i Atlas's companion objects were support systems, weapons platforms, or manufacturing facilities. But analysis of their interaction with the void signals reveals something far more disturbing. The companion objects are relay stations, amplifiers designed to boost transmissions between 3i Atlas and the ancient intelligences awakening in the darkness. They're not supporting 3i Atlas. They're helping it communicate with entities so removed from normal space that direct contact would be impossible. Each companion object operates on different frequency ranges, suggesting they're designed to contact different types of ancient intelligence. Some transmit in gravitational waves that manipulate space-time itself. Others broadcast in exotic radiation that exists only in quantum superposition. Still others appear to communicate through modifications to fundamental constants that govern reality's basic structure. But the most unsettling aspect is their positioning. The companion objects aren't randomly distributed around Earth. They're arranged in a geometric pattern that matches formations found in the ancient void architecture. They're turning our solar system into a node within the larger cosmic structure, connecting Earth to networks that span the observable universe and possibly beyond. Dr. Lisa Chen, a systems analyst studying companion object behavior, made a discovery that triggered immediate classified status. The companion objects aren't receiving instructions from 3i Atlas. They're implementing protocols that were embedded in their design long before they arrived in our solar system. This was always the plan. 3i Atlas was always meant to activate these ancient connections. Our observation of the process is just us finally noticing something that was set in motion long ago. Military satellites attempting to monitor the companion objects have been experiencing systematic failures, not from attacks or interference, but from what engineers describe as voluntary system upgrades. The satellites are being improved by the companion objects, enhanced to better observe the awakening process. Our own monitoring systems are being recruited to help document whatever is about to happen, whether we consent or not. The human connection. Archaeological teams working in previously unexplored sites have made discoveries that suggest ancient human civilizations were in contact with the same entities 3i Atlas is now awakening. Cave paintings in France dated to 40,000 years ago show geometric patterns that match void signal mathematics. Sumerian tablets describe visitors from spaces between stars who taught humanity the fundamentals of mathematics and astronomy. Egyptian texts reference entities called the Eternal Watchers who exist in realms beyond human perception, but who monitor humanity's development across millennia. Dr. Amanda Foster, an archaeologist specializing in ancient astronomy, discovered something that connects human history to the void intelligences in ways that challenge everything we believe about our origins. Every ancient civilization that achieved significant astronomical knowledge left records describing contact with beings from the darkness between stars. These weren't metaphors or mythology. They were accurate descriptions of encounters with the same entities that are responding to 3i Atlas now. Our ancestors knew about the ancient ones. We just forgot because the entities stopped communicating directly thousands of years ago. The timing of when ancient intelligences ceased direct contact with humanity corresponds exactly with the development of agricultural civilization and organized religion, as if the entities decided that once humans achieved certain developmental milestones, direct communication would interfere with our natural evolution. But the records they left suggest they promised to return when humanity reached sufficient technological advancement to understand their true nature. Indigenous cultures worldwide preserve oral traditions describing the time before the silence, an era when humans could communicate directly with consciousnesses that existed beyond physical form. Aboriginal Australian traditions speak of the Dreamtime entities who taught the first humans how to read the patterns in sky and stone. Native American legends describe the Star People who promised to return when the world entered a new age of understanding. Polynesian navigation traditions reference the navigators of the void who guide consciousness between worlds. My granddaughter came home from school yesterday with a drawing that made my blood run cold. She'd sketched a complex geometric pattern that perfectly matched the mathematical structures found in void signals. When I asked where she learned to draw that, she said it came to her in a dream where beings made of light and mathematics told her about the spaces between everything. Children around the world are reporting similar experiences, as if the ancient intelligences are introducing themselves to the next generation in preparation for whatever comes next.